Hello everyone, and welcome back to the events videos for Let's Play Prototype. We got a good amount of events to do today, and they are really spread out from the north to the south. We have a glide event, good, another one, and we're getting close to both the movement and glide events. Still have a couple more of the kill events, but we have part 2 of the 2-part event, and we have a military consume event, which we might as well get out of the way right now. Now this particular consume event will mark the end of the medium difficulty. Where are you going? You don't usually go this way. And you have really fast feet there. Jeez, look at those feet go. Crisscrossing every which way. Of course, it also looks like he's going to be falling off here, but, well, let's stop that from happening by slitting his throat with my thumb. I guess that's what happens when you have a virus. Now, I find it odd that we're getting a military base infiltration, because I usually only get those when I have upgrades also inside those bases. But this particular infiltration is going to be less for upgrade's sake and more for demonstration's sake of how the bases have now upgraded themselves even further. With the introduction of the super soldiers, now they have upped their security. See it closer to there, we have a lot more detectors everywhere, including this one. The combinations to these also get a little bit harder. More buttons to press. Well, look at how many there are now. I think there's about 5. And they're also up. So instead of wasting all of my time in order to get rid of all of these detectors, the quickest way of getting Commander is just grabbing him, causing him alert, and quickly slinking around a corner. And that almost didn't really work very well. And I know why. It's because of the stinking UAVs. Alright, where are those UAVs? Because they're the only things that are actually looking at me. There we go. Now this is a way you can do it, but it can get clumsy from time to time, so if you're able to do it by just quickly doing that and get back into the base, then you should be good for time. Alright, getting inside, we have only one target. He's not even going to give us an ability. Here we go. I don't want guards. Not at all. Excellent, and look at... That's a lot of bodies. And that one's jiggling over there! Oh jeez. That's what you get for being stuck in the wall. Invisible wall. Okay. I think we're good here. Let's get out. Before we start jiggling as well. I'm up here now. Alright, so there's all the medium difficulties completed, both for the military and the infected. So the next time we get another consume event, it's going to be on the hard difficulty. Alright, 3 more, and they're spread apart very much. But let's do part 2 of this kill event. The first part we did last time, which was You Called the Thunder. Now we have the second part. Now reap the whirlwind. You might be asking yourself, how do these two events connect to each other? Well, mainly by weapon choice. We have another missile launcher based event, but instead of dealing with the military, we're going to be dealing with the opposite. We're going to be dealing with the infected. Now, depending on who you are, you might find that this event is actually a little bit harder than the other one, simply because there's no easy way of getting a lot of points, since there's no tanks around. But, of course, use the same strategy of dealing with the large amount of infected clustered around in one area, and that will give you all the points that you could ever need. The problem I find with this one is that it's very easy to blow yourself up and lose a lot of your health if you're not being careful and being really reckless. And health pickups are kind of few and far between. You could kill a hunter maybe in order to get a lot of, or some of your health back, but of course you're wasting time by dealing with the hunters themselves. There you go. 90 was the threshold, but, well, with good clustering, you get a good score. Well over 150 if you're good enough. Let's just take this missile launcher with us. I like that they just kind of run and hobble in pairs and groups. It's really cool. But now we have the two-part kill event done. We don't have a lot of kill events left, actually, but we're pretty much even with all of the events in terms of how many are left. Because now we're going to be doing a movement event that I don't really care for all that much. Corners. Well, we seem to be dealing with high altitude again, so that's going to be another challenge. But this particular event comes right after my most favorite movement event, Rooftop Runner. Corners is kind of my least favorite. That's a long way to the first waypoint, and that's pretty much how this event is going to be structured. The whole thing around corners is that you are pretty much running around the perimeter of Central Park, and the waypoints are really spread out rather wide. The challenge here is to keep the highest altitude that you can in order to reduce distance that you're going to be going. And the main issue I have with this event is that this movement event is probably the longest movement event by far. And I think that's its biggest issue. It goes on for too long, and to be honest, there's not a lot in terms of skill that you're really doing. So, honestly, it gets quite boring. The gold requirement for this is 2 minutes. Why does this have to be 2 minutes? Like, getting across the perimeter of Central Park, like, that is kind of a good skill in order to build up speed. Because this is mainly a speed-based movement event, with some sharp cornering in between. But there has to be some way of cutting corners, if you know what I mean. You can kind of hear at this point that the music has even left the building because, well, we're not getting any of it anymore. Kind of goes to show you that this goes on for too long. But keeping a high altitude for a majority of the event is how you're going to be shaving off roughly like 10 to 15 seconds of your time. Also, having more upgrades and possibly maxing out your movement upgrades at this point will definitely give you an extra boost. seeing as I don't have the boost for the second double air dash, that's redundant, and also maxing out my sprint and jump, well, getting a time of under a minute 47 is kind of difficult in doing. Alright, so after doing that, and going around that entire loop, we're going to be dealing with another glide event, Curvaceous. When I first played this event, when it first showed up, Curvaceous really didn't give me a good feeling. When I started doing it, I realized that my feelings were completely true. That's right, they're incorporating turns into the glide events now. So we're gonna have to figure out how to deal with these buildings in order to get down to getting as close to the center as possible. It's not necessarily that difficult in order to get a gold requirement, but in terms of the record that I'm trying to set for myself, oh dear, oh dear. Now, it's very easy to regulate your gliding versus your air dashing, but make sure that you're not staying as close to the buildings as you would like. Because if you touch the buildings for more than a quarter of a second, then you're going to be failing the mission because you're going to be too far away to the target, the game says. And now we get to go into how long it took me in order to do this. I'm not going to say. I'm just going to say at the end of this, when I got my target record, well, you can also go different ways. So it's not just one clear path in order to get here. It also takes luck. A whole lot of luck. All I can say is that with the previous glide events, I've usually been ecstatic in order to get to this part. Well, by this point, well, I had my head in my hands. This took way too long, and I'm glad I don't have to do it again. I'm also glad that out of all of these, this is probably the last one that I'm going to have to do some sort of crazy distance record for shortest distance. And there's also 2 more glide events, so that's kind of a bit of a silver lining as well. We're getting close to the end of a bunch of the categories, honestly. We're going to be starting the consume events in a hard difficulty. We only have, I think, 3 kill events left. 2 movement events. We're really getting close to the end here. But, of course, we have a lot of main missions left to go. So they're going to be spread out evenly. With that said, I'll see you next time, everyone, as we continue on and unlock more missions. Events. Ow. See you next time, everyone. Taxi! Hey, taxi! Taxi? Oh.